So let's check. A little lake area I put together. And I'm seeing signs left behind. 0 out of 10, never do this again. What's this one say? Did you cut off the top of this hill? Too flat. What's with this stubby little rise? What even is the slope here doing? Flat, steep, flat, right after each other? And why don't you say what you really think, Autumn? That bad. And the worst part is she's right. God damn it. Who gave her permission to be right? This isn't... The technique I used for smoothing out a section of landscape doesn't seem to work quite as well for actually building it. And I've got to agree with Autumn. It was a nice first try, but it's gotta go. So, let me get back to you once I've gotten all of this cleaned up. And then we can start again with a better version of the technique, where I do the sketch on the vertical alignment first. And here we can see an in-progress step for take 2 of trying to build my possibly volcanic lake, where I've put in the entirety of the lake bed, but I haven't yet put in any of the soil covering on the outside of it. So this line of prismarine next to cobblestone on the edge here indicates that the dirt would go 1 level up. But it's already producing a much better shape by indicating out, like, these vertical bands before I try pouring the contours on. And we've got some sections with a bit of interesting character, like the weird cliffs over here. And the weird stone outcropping right there. But we also have some sections that are just sort of nice, smooth curve arch, exposed cliff face where it's been weathered back, land piling up against the cliff, another exposed face, and gentle piling down to ground level. And this is where I've put the cave entrance that my nether portal will be hiding behind. We have terrain comes up and then stops at that line, and terrain comes up and stops. And I'm aware that I have not yet finished any of my mountain here, but I get easily distracted from project to project, and it's much more fun to build the portions of it that are interesting at a given time. And right now, what I'm interested in is decorating up this lake. And now let's scatter some sea pickles on around, especially here in the depths, to make it brighter. Doesn't the lake look better already with lovely sparkling little bits of color in there? Now let's add some random seagrass. Or lake grass, or... make it look a lot more like a lovely, healthy lake in full bloom. Or make it look much greener, much brighter, much more lived in. Look at all that shimmering foliage swaying back and forth. Sure, it covers up some of the prismarine, but we still get the slow shimmer of prismarine colors over time. And there are some patches where you can still see all the way through to the ores underneath, like those iron ores sparkling. Strangely enough, the redstone's hard to spot. Copper is hard to spot at this distance. Why is it that the iron ore is most visible once you put a full lake on top of it? Things I was not expecting. But okay then. Redstone ore ends up being almost subtle after you've dropped a coral lake on it. The more you know. And I'll definitely come through and foliage up the grass over here. I just don't want to start putting in the ground cover until after I have assigned where the trees are. And I don't want to start assigning trees until after I have the terrain in place. Well, the cave I'm going to be moving this to isn't done, but it's about time to move my nether portal to its more final location. Let's see, does this still line up? I am very confused because it does, but I don't recall making that sign. That sign says Lily Star's base, but I don't recall making this sign, and that's not my final nether tunnel. Right, well, this is not the prettiest nether box I've ever seen, but we now have the nether portals lined up, which is what they need to be. Now, let's see how much extra work I've created for Autumn. Okay, it doesn't look like I have created extra work for her, because you'd think this would be closer to being done by now. She's always been better at actually getting projects completed. Hey, Autumn, what's with this nether tunnel still not being done? Over here, Spring. How goes the lake building? Is it still a crime against God and nature? Since you somehow had time to do that instead of going up to the above. Hang on, why are your pants blue? So, funny story, I was taking Shiwanabe up to the above. And when did our favorite white entity get summoned, by the way? It's so nice having him around, but I can never manage a stable summoning. Anyway, I was showing him around, giving him the tour, because I'd been enjoying the above so much. Is that sarcasm? A little, because it can definitely be evil some days, but it's been giving me practice in the totem shuffle. Rocketing away from danger, boating precise jumps on ice. Hang on, what was that last one? The ice boat races. A free Titan shard for completing all 5 levels, and let me tell you, level 5 is an absolute nightmare. Except for that last bit, which looks scary, but handles like an absolute dream. Anyway, I'd had to rescue his stuff from the Queen Bee after he got stuck checking to see if she was up. You rescue Shiwanabe? Have you forsaken your season enough to tell a blatant lie? Or is this about to be followed up by? And then I did die to the queen, but that was after one almost rescue that got an inventory of flowers instead of his gear, but it got them successfully out of the cave, so, yeah. So I dove back in and sat there rearranging gear to try to fish his stuff out in the pile of flowers and loot. Lost track of my totems, thought I had one up when actually my hands were empty, and, sploosh. No more items. So I had to buy a full replacement set of gear. For both of us. Oh, and I also had to replace my gold crown at least once already, because the Queen Bee broke my original crown out of jealousy on my second victory against her. Somehow this is actually true. I can't believe this. Thanks, Autumn. I needed that poke to go to the above. It's been great. All of my hate. So, about you bringing a project to an end, why is the nether tunnel still so incomplete? Oh, you know, days of grinding to restock our shop, to get the diamonds, to buy more warped wart, only to find it bought out, and the one shop that used to sell it having closed up. Is this a bad time to mention that I grabbed an entire double chest's worth last time I was there to use for decorating? I put the shulkers in our ender chest. Anyway, I'm about to go finish the cave where the tunnel will come out. What block do you think I should use to match with a stack of diamond ore for decorating? You have 5 seconds to start running. Maybe the stack of spore blossoms I bought at a diamond each? That's it! Well, I'm not certain how I'll use it, but I reckon a player head like this would be absolutely lovely in my decorating. Don't worry, my lovely watchers, she got her gear back. I'd prefer not to have to fund another replacement of her stuff right now. But it seems she needed a reminder. I'm the scary one of the two of us. Always. And now I will bid my lovely watchers adieu, as I have to plot how to properly incorporate skulls in my decor. It will not be in next week's sending, but in some future week, when our trees have begun to grow, I shall have my spotlight in evil aesthetics. Do stick around for that episode. Feel free, of course, to ignore my counterparts blathering in the intervening weeks.